My sister accused me of stealing her inheritance to save her failing business. I refused to attend her wedding and she hit rock bottom. Years later, she wants to reconnect, but I'm getting married. I'm Jake, 32M, and I've been grappling with some intense family drama lately. My sister Olivia, 29F, is getting married next month, but I've made the difficult decision not to attend. Here's the whole story. Our parents, Robert and Linda, passed away in a car accident 5 years ago. It was a devastating blow for both Olivia and me. We'd always been a close-knit family, spending weekends together at our lake house and having weekly family dinners. Dad was a successful architect, and Mom ran a small bookstore in our town. They were the kind of parents who always supported our dreams, no matter how wild they seemed. I remember the day of the accident like it was yesterday. I was at work when I got the call from the hospital. Olivia was in her final year of culinary school, and I had to break the news to her. We spent the next few weeks in a daze, trying to come to terms with our loss, while also dealing with the practical aspects of funeral arrangements and sorting out our parents' estate. In their will, our parents left their house to me, and a significant amount of money to Olivia. The house was a beautiful Victorian-style home that our dad had lovingly restored over the years. It held so many memories for us, from Christmas mornings by the fireplace to summer barbecues in the backyard. As for Olivia's inheritance, it was meant to help her start her own business, which had always been her dream. I moved into our parents' house, partly because I couldn't bear the thought of selling it and partly because it made financial sense. Olivia used her inheritance to open a small bakery in the downtown area of our city. She called it Sweet Memories, a tribute to our mom who had taught her how to bake. Things were going well for a while. I helped Olivia with some of the initial setup of her bakery, painting walls and assembling furniture. She seemed grateful for the help, and for a time, our bond grew even stronger as we supported each other through our grief. I remember the opening day of her bakery, the pride in her eyes as she cut the ribbon, the way she hugged me tightly and whispered, "Mom and Dad would be so proud." However, about a year ago, Olivia's business started struggling. She blamed it on the economy and increased competition in the area. A big chain bakery had opened up just a few blocks away, and it was drawing a lot of customers with its lower prices and flashy marketing. Last Christmas, Olivia came to me asking for a loan. We were having our traditional Christmas Eve dinner at my place. Well, our old family home. She waited until after we'd exchanged gifts and were sitting by the fire with hot cocoa. She said she needed $50,000 to keep her bakery afloat. She talked about needing to renovate the space, upgrade some equipment, and launch a marketing campaign to compete with the chain bakery. I was hesitant because I didn't have that kind of money just lying around. Since inheriting the house, I'd put a lot of money into maintaining it. The roof had needed replacing, and I'd just finished updating the kitchen. I explained to Olivia that I'd need to take out a loan myself to help her, which I wasn't comfortable doing. My job as a software developer was stable, but I wasn't making the kind of money that would allow me to easily repay a $50,000 loan. Olivia got upset and left without finishing her cocoa. She accused me of not caring about her dreams and said that if our parents were alive, they would have helped her without hesitation. Her words stung, but I tried to chalk it up to the stress she was under. A few weeks later, I started hearing strange rumors from family members. It started with a call from our cousin Emma. She asked me, in a roundabout way, if I was having money problems. When I said no, she seemed confused and mentioned that Olivia had told her I'd been asking family members for loans. I was baffled and assured Emma I had done no such thing. Then, at a family gathering for our aunt's birthday, I overheard my uncle talking to another relative. He was saying something about how disappointed our parents would be in me for stealing from my own sister. When I confronted him, he reluctantly told me that Olivia had been telling everyone that I had stolen part of her inheritance. She claimed that our parents had left her more money than she received, and that I must have taken it. I was shocked and deeply hurt by these accusations. Our parents had always taught us the value of honesty and integrity. The idea that I would steal from my own sister, let alone tamper with our parents' will, was absurd and painful. I tried to talk to Olivia about it, but she refused to listen. She insisted that I had somehow manipulated the will or convinced our parents to change it before they died. This was absolutely not true. I would never do something like that, and I was deeply hurt that she would even think I was capable of it. The situation got worse when Olivia's fiancé, Tom, 31M, got involved. Tom and Olivia had met at a farmer's market where she used to sell her baked goods. He was a charming guy, working as a marketing executive, and I had initially been happy for Olivia when they started dating. But now he started calling me repeatedly, demanding that I come clean and return the money I had supposedly stolen. When I refused, he threatened to take legal action against me. I consulted a lawyer who assured me that I had done nothing wrong. The will was clear, and there was no evidence of any tampering. Still, the accusations continued. Other family members started taking sides. with some believing Olivia and others supporting me. Family gatherings became tense affairs, with whispered conversations and pointed looks. Last month, I received a wedding invitation from Olivia. It arrived in a beautiful cream envelope, with my name written in elegant calligraphy. I was surprised, given everything that had happened. When I called her to ask about it, she said she was willing to forgive me if I admitted to taking the money and agreed to pay her back. I was furious. I told her that I had nothing to confess or apologize for, and that I wouldn't be attending her wedding under these circumstances. Now, some family members are calling me an asshole for ruining Olivia's big day. They say I should just apologize to keep the peace, even if I didn't do anything wrong. But I don't think I should have to lie or accept blame for something I didn't do. It goes against everything our parents taught us. The whole situation has left me feeling isolated and betrayed. The sister I grew up with, the one who used to sneak into my room during thunderstorms because she was scared, the one who cheered the loudest at my college graduation, now sees me as someone capable of theft and deception. It's like the sister I knew has been replaced by a stranger. I miss the relationship we used to have. I miss our Sunday brunches where we'd try to recreate Mom's famous cinnamon rolls. I miss having someone who understood exactly what it felt like to lose our parents. But I can't pretend that everything is okay when it's not. So, Reddit, AITA, for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after these false accusations? Am I wrong for standing my ground, even if it means potentially creating a permanent rift in our family? Update 1. It's been about 2 months since my original post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their support and advice. Your comments gave me the courage to take action and stand up for myself. Here's what's been going on. After my post, I decided to take a more proactive approach to clear my name. I reached out to Mr. Johnson, the lawyer who had handled our parents' estate. He's known our family for years. He and Dad used to play golf together every Saturday. When I explained the situation, he was shocked and immediately offered to help. Mr. Johnson was able to provide documentation showing the original will, as well as records of all the transactions related to the inheritance. This proved beyond any doubt that I hadn't taken anything that wasn't rightfully mine. He also wrote a detailed letter explaining the entire process of executing the will, which I could share with my family. While gathering this information, I discovered something interesting. It turns out that Olivia had been hiding some financial troubles from everyone. A friend of mine, Sarah, works at the bank where Olivia had her business account. Over coffee one day, Sarah let slip that Olivia had taken out several high-interest loans over the past couple of years. This explained why she was so desperate for money and why her business was struggling. Armed with this information, I arranged a family meeting. I chose to hold it at our old family lake house, a neutral ground that held happy memories for all of us. I invited our Aunt Sarah, 55F, who had always been a voice of reason in family disputes, to mediate. Aunt Sarah was our mom's younger sister, and she had a way of calming tensions with her soothing presence and no-nonsense attitude. The day of the meeting was tense. As family members arrived, there was an awkward atmosphere of forced politeness. Olivia arrived last, with Tom by her side. She looked tired and stressed, nothing like the vibrant sister I remembered. I presented all the evidence I had gathered, including the will documents and Mr. Johnson's letter. I also gently brought up the information about Olivia's loans, framing it as concern for her well-being rather than an accusation. To say it was an emotional meeting would be an understatement. Olivia initially tried to deny everything, but when faced with the evidence, she broke down. She admitted that she had lied about me stealing the inheritance. Her business had been failing for a while, and she had been too proud to admit it. The accusation against me was a desperate attempt to get money to save her bakery and pay off her loans. She revealed that the stress of trying to keep her business afloat had been overwhelming. She'd taken out loans to cover expenses, always believing that things would turn around soon. But each month, it got harder to make ends meet. She spoke about lying awake at night, worrying about how to pay her employees and suppliers. The weight of her dream crumbling around her had been too much to bear. Tom, Olivia's fiancé, was shocked. Apparently, he had no idea about the extent of Olivia's financial troubles. He had believed her story about me stealing the inheritance and had been supporting her based on that lie. The look of disbelief and hurt on his face was painful to see. He apologized to me profusely for his behavior and the threats he had made. The rest of the family was divided in their reactions. Aunt Sarah, ever the peacemaker, was sympathetic to Olivia's situation, but disappointed in her actions. She reminded us of the importance of family and honesty, values our parents had always stressed. Other relatives were angry at Olivia for causing so much trouble and nearly tearing the family apart with her lies. As for me, I was relieved to have my name cleared, but also hurt and angry. The past few months had been incredibly stressful. I'd lost sleep, been distracted at work, and felt isolated from the family I loved. I told Olivia that while I understood she was in a difficult situation, her actions had seriously damaged our relationship. I said I needed time and space to process everything and decide how to move forward. Olivia begged me to reconsider attending her wedding, saying she wanted to make amends, but I stood firm. I told her that trust is earned, and she had a lot of work to do before I could even think about rebuilding our relationship. The thought of standing beside her at her wedding, pretending everything was fine, made me feel physically ill. The meeting ended with no real resolution. Olivia left in tears, with Tom following close behind. The rest of the family lingered, discussing the revelations in hushed tones. I felt drained, but also relieved that the truth was finally out. The wedding is still scheduled for next month. Some family members are still pressuring me to attend for the sake of family unity, but I'm standing my ground. I believe that attending would send the message that her actions were okay, and I'm not ready to do that. I'm still processing all of this, and I'm not sure what the future holds for my relationship with Olivia. The sister I knew, the one who shared my childhood memories and who I thought I could trust implicitly, seems like a stranger to me now. I hope that someday we can rebuild our relationship, but I know it will take time and effort from both sides. For now, I'm focusing on healing and moving forward. I've started reconnecting with friends I'd neglected during this family drama. I'm also throwing myself into a home improvement project, restoring Dad's old workshop in the backyard. Working with my hands, surrounded by Dad's old tools, brings me a sense of peace and connection to my parents that I've been missing. Thank you all again for your support. Your advice and kind words have been a lifeline during this difficult time. I'll update if anything significant changes. Update 2. It's been about 6 months since my last update, and there have been some significant developments in this ongoing family saga. First, Olivia's wedding didn't happen as planned. About 2 weeks before the scheduled date, Tom called it off. He came to see me one evening looking distressed. Over a beer on my porch, he explained that after learning about Olivia's lies and financial deception, he couldn't trust her anymore. He said he'd tried to work through it with her, even suggested couples counseling, but ultimately felt that starting a marriage on such shaky ground was a recipe for disaster. It was a messy breakup, with Tom moving out of their shared apartment, and Olivia left to deal with the fallout of canceling a wedding at the last minute. I felt bad for her, despite everything that had happened. I remembered how excited she'd been when she first started dating Tom, how she'd gush about his thoughtfulness, and how he made her laugh. In the wake of this, Olivia hit rock bottom. Her bakery finally went under, and she was forced to declare bankruptcy. It was a harsh reality check for her, and she seemed to finally realize the consequences of her actions. I heard through family gossip that she'd moved back in with our Aunt Sarah temporarily. About a month after the canceled wedding, Olivia reached out to me. She left a voicemail asking if we could meet in person to talk. Her voice sounded small and uncertain, so different from the confident sister I remembered. I was hesitant, but I agreed, choosing a neutral location, a quiet coffee shop in town where we used to study together during our college days. When I saw Olivia, I was struck by how different she looked. She'd lost weight, and there were dark circles under her eyes. She was wearing an old sweatshirt of mine that she'd borrowed years ago and never returned. It was a small detail, but it reminded me of the closeness we used to share. During our meeting, Olivia broke down completely. She apologized profusely for her lies and manipulation. She explained that she had been too proud to admit her business was failing and had gotten in over her head with loans and debts. The stress had caused her to lash out and make terrible decisions, including accusing me of theft. She talked about how she'd always felt pressure to live up to our parents' expectations. Mom and Dad had been so proud when she got into culinary school, and she couldn't bear to let them down, even after they were gone. She admitted that she'd been in denial about her business troubles for a long time, always believing that if she just worked harder, things would turn around. While I appreciated her apology, I made it clear that it would take more than words to rebuild our relationship. The trust between us had been severely damaged. I told her that I was willing to be civil and even help her get back on her feet. But that trust would take a long time to rebuild, if ever. In the months since then, Olivia has been working hard to turn her life around. She found a job as a baker in a local restaurant. It's not her own business, but she seems to enjoy the work without the stress of ownership. She's been slowly paying off her debts and has moved into a small apartment of her own. She's also been seeing a therapist to work on her issues with pride and honesty. She told me during one of our infrequent phone calls that therapy has been helping her understand why she acted the way she did and how to make better choices in the future. As for our family, things are still tense. Some relatives have come around and apologized to me for believing Olivia's lies. Others are still upset with her for the chaos she caused. Family gatherings are awkward, to say the least. Last Thanksgiving at Aunt Sarah's was particularly strained, with conversations sticking to safe topics like the weather and sports. I've been focusing on my own life and well-being. I've made some new friends through a local hiking group and even started dating someone new, Kate, 30F. She's a kindergarten teacher with a kind heart and a great sense of humor. She's been incredibly supportive throughout this whole ordeal, offering a listening ear and a fresh perspective. Olivia has asked me several times if we can try to rebuild our relationship. While I'm not completely opposed to the idea, I'm taking it very slowly. We've had a few short, cordial conversations, mostly about neutral topics like her new job or my hiking adventures. I'm still maintaining firm boundaries, not ready to let her back into my life completely. The house that our parents left me has become a point of contention again. With her financial troubles, Olivia has hinted that she might need a place to stay. I've made it clear that while I'm willing to help her find resources for affordable housing, I'm not comfortable with her moving in with me. The house holds too many memories, and I'm not ready to share that space with her given our current relationship. Overall, things are slowly improving, but there's still a long way to go. I'm proud of myself for standing my ground and not giving in to pressure to sweep everything under the rug. It's been a difficult journey, but I feel like I'm coming out stronger on the other side. Update 3. It's been almost a year since my last update, and I wanted to share some final thoughts on this situation. Olivia has continued to work on herself and her issues. She's still at the restaurant job and has been promoted to head baker. Her boss even lets her experiment with new recipes for the daily specials. She's also nearly finished paying off her debts, which is a significant achievement. I've seen a change in her demeanor. She seems more grounded and less prone to impulsive decisions. Our relationship has seen some improvement, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. We've had a few family dinners together, and while they're no longer unbearably tense, there's still an undercurrent of unease. Last month, we met for coffee and managed to have a conversation that felt almost normal. We talked about our childhood memories, laughing about the time we tried to camp in the backyard but got scared and ran back inside at midnight. These moments give me hope, but I'm also realistic about the long road ahead. I've accepted that our relationship may never fully recover, and I'm at peace with that. The trust that was broken isn't easily repaired, but we're both making efforts in our own ways. Olivia has respected my boundaries and hasn't pushed for more than I'm ready to give. The biggest change in my life is that Kate and I are now engaged. When I proposed, I was upfront with her about all the family drama, and she's been incredibly understanding and supportive. We're planning a small wedding next spring, and yes, Olivia will be invited. It's an olive branch of sorts, but with clear boundaries. Kate and I have discussed it at length, and we both feel it's the right decision for us. As for the rest of the family, most have come around to understanding my side of things. There are still a few who think I should just forgive and forget, but I've learned to stand firm in my decisions. Aunt Sarah has been particularly supportive, often acting as a buffer between Olivia and me at family gatherings. The house our parents left me has become a source of comfort rather than contention. I finished restoring Dad's old workshop, and I spend weekends there working on small woodworking projects. It's therapeutic and helps me feel connected to my parents. I've even invited Olivia over a couple of times to see the finished workshop. She brought some of her baked goods, and we shared a quiet moment remembering Dad and his love for craftsmanship. Looking back on this whole experience, I've learned a lot about myself and the importance of standing up for the truth, even when it's difficult. I've also learned about forgiveness, not the kind that ignores wrongdoing, but the kind that acknowledges hurt while leaving room for growth and change. While I wouldn't wish this situation on anyone, I can say that it has made me stronger and more confident in my convictions. It's taught me the value of surrounding myself with people who support and believe in me, like Kate and my true friends who stood by me throughout this ordeal. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your advice and encouragement helped me navigate one of the most challenging periods of my life. If there's one thing I want people to take away from my story, it's this. It's okay to set boundaries, even with family. Your peace of mind and self-respect are important. And with that, I think this chapter of my life is finally closing. Olivia and I may never be as close as we once were, but we're finding a new way to be family. It's different. It's sometimes difficult, but it's ours. Here's to new beginnings and healthier relationships in the future.